a lot of the esports competitive teams have to take into consideration.
Absolutely. So I'm still on the Noble train, hoping that T-Tiger studies and plays parallel, because that is only good then, because Noble then can close the series 2-0, and that will be the upset of the whole tournament. If not, that is totally crazy what is going on here. Let's take a look at the draft. Arden and Adagio are out. We have the first pick here. Xenotech going for the Fortress, Gate Visual, Glaive, and we see T-Tigers with the Ringo. That's interesting on the other side. Black Feather
I like this comp.
and Taka together with Fortress. What do you think?
See, so, you know, your composition coming out of Noble Sports, you do have that Taka who can dive very deep. You also have Blackfeather. This composition specifically is designed to take out that Ringo very early and very quickly. And that's something that they're going to be focused on throughout the entire game. However, on the other side, with that pick up of, you know, you have that Glaive as a roamer, you have Gabe Vizzo on that Rhyme as the jungle carry.
And we know that he's strong. 1 versus 3, I'm just saying.
And you're going up against a triple melee composition. This should work out very well in their favor, even if it gets to that late game.
All right. So let's see about that. We have our casters, Tasty Bacon, Forecourt Jester with the second game, Noble Esports, Hammers Kinetic. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Blueberries. And here we go, game number 2, Noble Esports going to be looking to knock off Hammers Kinetic, who, if I'm not mistaken, were the champions of the first qualifier here in the spring season. So this would be a huge win for Noble if they can finish off the series here. But as was also mentioned by Blueberries, Gabe Bizzle on the Rhyme. We've seen the 1v3 play get shared all over social media. Can he have another stellar performance? We're actually going to potentially see an early fight here, but nope. Looks like everyone is going to back off as cooler heads do prevail.
Yeah, this early on, I don't really think there's too much you can do up against that powerhouse combo, the Glaive and the Gabe. And you know, as a side note, I am a little sad that it's not a Glaive Bizzle this round, because like that was, you know, sort of the big things that he was known for, those support Glaives. And so instead they're going to come up into lane.
Yep, they are going to go into the lane and pick up that first kill. Once again, a strong first blood picked up by Noble on the lane. It wasn't T-Tigers that they picked up this time, but you know, that first kill is still nice, and we'll see if they can get anything off of it. They're trying to steal away this jungle, but it's just not there to take right now.
All right, so first kill, very quick here at the minute mark, but it's not really gonna, you know, impact a huge amount for the mentality of these guys. They know, you know, that this is a thing that happens. Glaive is actually, Uni is actually gonna be the one to pick that one up, but now, well, they're gonna just collapse.
Yeah, this is going to be Hammers dropping down onto Uni and getting the kill, and El Riesgo falling shortly after. I'm a little surprised that they gave El Riesgo this fortress after his first game, but now Hammers, they're going to continue chasing down into Xenotech, but Blackfeather, the ever elusive Blackfeather, even without his ultimate, is still really difficult to lock down.
And no infinite escape, not yet, not to level 6, but still, I mean, that was actually phenomenal from Kinetic. They're able to collapse. Yeah, they didn't get the farm, but they got 2 kills, and that's a message going back up against Noble Esports that says, you know, we're still here to win. You might have a triple melee, but our 3-man collapse can actually outdo yours, especially with that positioning. Sweet Generous did a fantastic job with that afterburn to split those guys up, and that's how we got those 2 kills. So going into this one, Uni, he's got to just be, I think, a little bit more conscious of the fact that he is only level 3. That once you get level 6, your mobility, your damage output goes way up. At this point, you know, you might be thinking as well for that tension bow just to kind of go a little bit more damagey, but or at least bursty here in the early on. But I'm not entirely too sure at this rate we're going to see it in a good time frame.
Yeah, I mean, tension bow is one of those items that if you don't have it really within the first, ideally you want it within the first 5 minutes. If you don't have it within the first 7 minutes, you just don't even build it because it's not really worth it. But this is going to be Hammers with the gank onto Xenotech, trying to use that jump to get to the minions and make his way down to the jungle. But he is going to get collapsed on and taken care of by Hammers. And it's Gabe Bizzle picking up the kill yet again. He's got all 3 of their kills.
Yeah, 3 to him, but more importantly, again, like 3 assists plus all that Iron Guard gold. It's starting to add up there on top of Sweet Generous, so he should be fairly well off himself. And in terms of the gold between the teams, about 600 or so. And I would really bet that the bigger numbers are between Sweet Generous and Gabe Bizzle for their team. So Rhyme, I mean, here in 1.17, there's a lot of talk. Will he still see play? Is this enough of a difference to kind of bring him out of that god tier? And I gotta say, I mean, Gabe Vizzle's making it look good.
Yeah, I think it definitely did bring it down out of that S tier, that must pick, must ban, but it's still really strong, especially against a triple melee composition, which that's exactly why they have it here running against this noble comp. So I feel like it's still going to do extremely well for Gabe Vizzle, and we've also seen obviously Gabe Vizzle, one of the best Rhyme players out there. And Hammers, they realize, hey, everyone's missing from the lane. Let's go on a hunt and try and see what we can find. They do find the entire team, and it's Xenotech and T-Tigers that were trading the most damage. T-Tigers is the one that falls down, but Gabe Vizzle trying to get some extra damage down onto anyone he can, but he's just getting kited all over the place right now. He's still
1v3?
really slow,
1v3?
and it will be Sweet Generous getting taken down, but Gabe Vizzle trying to go for this 1v3, but it's just not going to happen. Nowhere near enough items in the inventory to pick that up, but he did stay alive long enough to avoid the ace, and that's what's really most important.
Yeah, denying the ace is going to be rather good for, well, I mean, you still got ace, right? But, for Kinetic to not give up that ace this early is definitely going to be good for the mentality, good for their money, good for their opponents, because, well, good for them against their, okay, well, whatever. We're going to move on. So, tension.
I mean, they gave up 3 kills. It is good for their opponents. So.
Yeah, there was just way too many things I wanted to say there, and it just did not come out. So we're just going to sweep that one under the forecourt rug. Still, though, I mean, 3 kills this early on. That was a level 6 Glaive. Not Glaive, Gabe. There was a level 6 Rhyme in a 1v3 situation, and that's sort of where that meme came from. That big 1v3 situation. And there's not a level 6 actually on Xenotech's team. Uni just hit level 6 after that fight, after that little bit of extra farm, because they went and they got a little bit of counter going for them. But that was, again, just really good from Xenotech and crew. They were able to juggle it out. I don't know if they're going to be able to juggle out this one here, but Gabe, he's got to be just a little flustered about how that did go down.
Yeah, T-Tigers, though, is looking significantly better on this Ringo. 60 minions killed to the 52 of Xenotech, staying ahead of him. Whereas, as we saw in game number 1, T-Tigers fell pretty far behind on that Sky. Definitely Ringo is a hero that we see him play a lot more frequently, and it's kind of just showing in the way that he's carrying himself in the lane, being a lot more, not so much aggressive, but a lot more confident, staying in situations where a lot of people would have been recalling and running away. But we'll have to see. They're going to find everyone here. It is not going to be a fight starting off just yet. It's just going to be those pillars getting thrown out by Gabe, trying to get some harassment damage as they take a page out of the Noble Book. Uni, though, he's going to go in onto T-Tigers. Just get that little bit of damage from the kite in. But now the full fight is on Uni and Xenotech going hard onto T-Tigers, and they get themselves another kill, but it is answered by Gabe Vizzle, and now he's trying to chase down Elsesgo. Doesn't have a whole lot of energy left, though, using those pillars just to try and force him to walk exactly where they want. A nice afterburn, but it's used on the turret. That is got to be a mistake from Be Generous. Will it cost them? It's going to, as now Elsesgo is going to survive, but this is a huge minion wave. He's not going to be able to defend this turret. So, at the very least, Hammers should be able to take this turret down. But now with Uni here, they are actually going to end up backing off. Oh, that was just that one little misstep from Sweet Generous could potentially be a big problem for Hammers now.
Yeah, that one misstep costing them the kill is definitely going to be going down in the history books as a huge misplay. The better fact, I think, is that I actually wrote off Elsesgo. He was really deep in that 2v1, but he zigged, he zagged. I mean, if you can dodge a glaive, if you can dodge a Rhyme, then you will live out. He doesn't even have boots, Bacon. Like, he did that without any boots.
Yeah,
that's the bigger thing for me.
No boots and no ally to get extra move speed off of or anything. That was just base move speed fortress. Just dip, dodge, diving, and ducking and dodging all the way back underneath that turret. And, a little bit of luck came into it, too.
There we go. He picks up the boots now, but he's also going to be going for, well, he already has that fountain, but after he goes for these boots. It looks like it's going to be a Warhorn next, so he's going to rectify that problem. Zeno should be fine here, but the 1v3, that tower is looking mighty sore, and this actually should just go straight down, I think, for Kinetic. They don't actually seem to be targeting it, though.
Yeah, it's really strange that they're not. And there's going to be Uni going in. Oh my goodness, Uni just almost deleted T-Tigers in one combo. He has got to be thanking his lucky stars that he had that little bit of extra health from the reflex block. The Hellfire Brew does go out onto Uni, but he's just going to pop that Kaku and start healing up through the burning damage. And if he can get another jump on the T-Tigers, oh, he actually hits the turret. And but they are going to be able to secure the kill. Xenotech, though, gets afterburned right back underneath that turret. Noble trying to get away, trying to avoid the curse of staying too long and diving too deep. And it looks like they're going to be successful this time.
All right, so T-Tigers, just like Rome was saying, he is the big target. 0-3-3. He's not really been a huge impact in a lot of these fights. And now Uni, look at this. He is going to be trying to just delay the farm a little bit. Sweet Generous and Gabe, they got to be very careful if they are going to be advancing, especially since Gabe has been just kind of bordering on the low mana. But wow,
goodness.
Uni is just doing fantastic damage with that tension bow.
Yeah, and that's really all it is the tension bow. Is he takes a lot of damage in return. But this seems to be the story of the game, is Hammers just barely not able to secure a kill in response when they try and chase someone down, as Uni gets away once again with his life. Low on energy, but it's a Taka that'll be remedied pretty soon.
So Taka right now is sitting at 4-2. Xenotech's actually sitting at 3-1, which I think is fantastic considering he has very few offensive items. These guys actually build out armor rather early, and you might be thinking like, well, why? I mean, that's the support glaive, but it's also about T-Tigers. If they're going to be continually diving down on top of T-Tigers, they need to try to mitigate as much damage as they can, and there's two weapons on the opponent's side. So Sweet Generous and T-Tigers not really hitting the marks, and as you saw earlier, the 1v3, Gabe Bizzle can actually be juggled out very well.
This is going to be another engage, and again, T-Tigers the target. This time, a lot of damage does get returned onto Xenotech, and Gabe will pick that one up. Elsesgo and Uni are both low as well. Elsesgo is going to run away, and the attention is just constantly split. It's almost like they just don't know who to actually try and focus on and try and go for a kill against. But Uni just dancing around. He does, however, get rooted, but the healing coming through is going to be enough to keep him alive, especially with that Kaku. And he's just going back in onto Sweet Generous, trying to get that damage. They get the kill. The turret is still standing. Gabe Bizzle left alive. T-Tigers has rejoined the fray as well, but Noble, they are doing so well. They have identified the threat that they don't want to deal with, and obviously that's also just easier to take down in T-Tigers on this Ringo. Ringo far, far easier to kill than a Rhyme is at any stage of the game. And you see Uni every single time just diving straight onto him.
Yeah, he's the initiate. Like, between him and Xenotech, just right here, they both rush him down. T-Tigers can't go anywhere. We have a Shiver Steal on Xenotech. You are not going to be escaping that, not without any peel. And the peel from Gabe is being largely negated, and the damage output and the peel from Sweet Generous is either getting blocked or basically just reduced down to pretty much nothingness. Again, with all that armor, Xenotech and crew, can very safely dive, and the only big threat to them, if they do get that assassinate off on top of T-Tigers, which so far 0 and 5, he's half of the entire deaths on the side of Kinetic, then they just have to really worry about Gabe Bizzle. And unfortunately, again, look at this. I mean, 0-5-4 T-Tigers, 0-4-5 Sweet Generous. There's a very clear indication of who's getting focused down and who's getting negated in terms of a lot of the damage.
Yeah, that's going to be the attack of the pack and the afterburn going in. A nice Crucible, but it's not enough as they once again take down T-Tigers. And now the attention is turned on to Gabe and Sweej, but a good answer there. Not quite going to be enough, though, as Gabe Bizzle is down finally for the second time in this game. And Sweej is just a cleanup away. And an ace going over to Noble. They have this game. They are in firm control right now.
That's an excellent way to put it. And I don't know if it was just before this fight or the fight before. Uni's had that tension bow for a while, but on top of that now as well is an aftershock. So they are basically out for blood every X number of seconds. T-Tigers just takes massive amounts of damage. He's been dead pretty much the first one to drop in a lot of these team fights. I've seen a few Hellfire Brews after the fact, but when it comes to that damage, I mean, he has a Sorrow Blade. He's going for that Bone Saw, but it won't matter if he can't live. And that's the big challenge right now for Kinetic that they don't seem to have an answer about. Look at that. Double more armor is coming out here from Xenotech and crew. So it doesn't even matter. Even if Team Tigers gets this bone saw, it's just unfortunately going to hit way too much resistance, like cutting through a lead wall.
Yeah, there are 3 Atlas Pauldrons on the side of Noble. And as you mentioned, it's not just because of T-Tiger. Excuse me. Not just because of T-Tigers. Obviously, Glaive, once he starts getting, those crits, can do some serious damage, even though he's not building damage. But also, Gabe Bizzle, Rhyme, while you don't typically think of his basic attacks as being a big source of damage, does do more damage based on how much crystal he has. So, it's just everyone is going to have their attack speed slowed down throughout an entire fight, essentially. Like, there's going to be almost no uptime of not having your full attack speed for the side of Hammers. And like I said, just the game plan from Noble Esports, they clearly had a defined idea of what they wanted to do, and they're doing it so well.
So on top of that, we got the double proc, we got a fountain. Xenotech has his own self-healing with that Serpent's Mask. We have our own self-healing on Uni, and of course Elsesgo has the fountain and the passive there as well. On top of that, Warhorn, mobility. These guys can just run circles all the way around Kinetic right now, and they've been doing so. 13 and 5, they're up 5,000 gold. Kraken is now spawned. You can see immediately they're just going to be going straight for it. They know exactly where Kinetic are, and I don't even know if they saw T-Tigers going home, but like with T-Tigers going home, if he is getting that infusion, this is just a no contest right here. If Sweet Generous gets in to steal it, that's about the only chance we got to stop this Kraken.
Yeah, and that's not going to be happening. Not in a 1v3. It wouldn't have even been worth it, because even if he goes in and steals it, the side of Noble are going to be able to take it down so quickly that it would essentially it would give the 500 gold right over the Noble, because Swede wouldn't have been able to try and take a fight after that steal. So Kraken is going to be pushing down the lane for Noble Esports, and this, the way that these fights have been going, this could be dire situation here for Hammers, as Noble, they're just going right in. They don't even care about the fact that all 3 members of Hammers are here to try and defend. They just want to melt down these turrets. A Hellfire Brew does come out. We'll see if Noble goes for an engage or if they're just going to continue focusing the turret. There is some damage done by Xenotech with that on point. And now he goes in with the Rose Offensive. The attack of the pack is out as well. And once more, T-Tigers just immediately focused down, followed by Sweet Generous. Gabe Bizzle is trying to get back to the base, but he just doesn't have the move speed. And that's going to be another ace. That's going to be game. Noble Esports 2-0 over Hammers Kinetic.
Now, Hammers Kinetic, to get into this quarterfinals, they had to go up against Mutiny, which has a lot of hype going behind them right now. I see these guys all over social media. They're streaming. Definitely a good team. They won the 2-1. They also beat Throws Are Us. But at the same time, Noble Esports had to go through Gangstar's Vega. And that was a 2-1 there as well. So both these teams, they got through a lot of challenges to get here, but Noble Esports, they got dunked down pretty hard in qualifier number 1, and they did not make anything close to even qualifying for the championships. This time, it looks like they've really taken that few weeks or so. They've been streaming constantly. Xenotech is always up there with his graveyard, and it looks like they have really come together. Not to take anything away from Kinetic, but Noble looked just so much better these sets of matches than they did in the last qualifier.
Well, I think after a match like that, you almost have to take something away from Kinetic, because they were just completely, and game 1 was a little bit closer for the most part, but in game 2, they were completely and utterly outplayed. From the composition to the play style to the execution, everything was in favor of Noble Esports. You can just see it there on